I can remember being up here as an older boy many years ago. And this particular Sunday, I can't remember who the other acolyte was, but we were helping the minister. And they were serving communion up here. And sometimes they would, the communion would go out to the people, and sometimes the people would come up to the communion. And I remember my dad saying to me, "You better get something to eat before you go to church." I said, "Nah, I'm okay, Dad. I'm good to go." So I was standing up here, and I was holding the, well, it wasn't wine, it was grape juice, and I fainted. I can remember getting real dizzy, and my mother was sitting back here, and my sister, and it was a pretty good-sized crowd here, and I fainted, and the grape juice went all over me. And I made a bunch of people all rushed up, and I sat down there for a couple minutes, and that was good to go. But I can remember that pretty well, But, as a kid, sometimes you get started kind of not thinking very much about it because pretty much we never missed church. That was my sister. My father was a Catholic, and so he didn't go to church with us, but we never argued about going to church. Even from a very young age, it was like, "Hey, you go to church, buddy. The Sabbath is a holy day, and you make sure you attend church." And I got to say, from those very humble early beginnings, that church and being there has always been important to me. I want to thank my son, Mark. We usually go to the Second Presbyterian Church, which is over in Moxon. And my wife is not here today because actually we got the coffee hour over at our church today. So she says, "Hey, I can't come down. We got coffee hour." So Mark usually helps with the coffee hour. But my other son, Dan, he is here. He's got 4 children. His wife, Tiffany, is here. I want to thank them for coming over. I didn't know they were coming in. Now, I didn't even really think much about what Terry had told me earlier in the week, but I drove by the church yesterday, and I see on the marquee, Pap Wissinger. I'm thinking, oh, wait a second here. I hope not too much is expected of me, because I'm just a humble sinner, and working to be a saint. So I can remember, just early things that happened to me in this church, and then how, as you grow up, you get to be more involved in the services, and just more aware of what's going on in church. But I can harken back to the fact that when you go to church as a youngster, you probably will never get away from it. Even if you kind of depart along the way, you will pretty much return to those roots. So when I got married, I said to Deb, "Hey, Ferndale Church, this is my church." But she was very, very involved over at the Second Presbyterian Church, back and forth. And, so I ultimately ended up going to Second Church, which is a beautiful church. It's right across from St. Pat's over in Moxon. And I think to some extent we battle for attendance. Unlike when I was a child in this church, we had many more people here than we have today. And I know it's cold outside. It kind of reminds me, today people seem to be really preoccupied with weather and it being cold. And, like last year, I think I was watching the weather report. This gentleman he was talking about, it was in December, and he was talking about how the next 3 months we're going to get colder. And I'm thinking to myself, well, they used to call that winter. And it wasn't quite as big of a deal. If it was winter, you put your boots on, you get ready to go. And you lived in western Pennsylvania, and that was really not much of an excuse for not going to church. And, I realized that as you get older, you got to watch falling. You don't want anybody to get hurt, break a hip. You could be in trouble. But, as a kid, we had a lot of people that went here to church that lived right here in Ferndale Park. We used to see a lot of people walking to church. And one of the things that always still encourages me was our Sunday school. There again, my sister and I, we used to get pins when we would go to Sunday school for a year or 2 years or 3 years. I remember at one time, I think I was at least at 7 or 8 years, where I had not missed Sunday school. And sometimes you don't feel too good, but hey, once you start going to church, as I say, you generally never stop going until the day, the Lord takes you home. So I can remember very humbly being in church. Two of the teachers that I remember. I mean, I have a number of different Sunday school teachers, but I remember Mrs. Hirschberger, and there was another lady, I think it was Miss Kiefer. It literally almost brings tears to my heart because of just how kind they were. I mean, I can look back and I think to myself, wow, that's truly the love of Christ. They taught that. They taught us humility. They taught us respect. But they also, if you got out of line, they flew you in. And so, as I say, sometimes I get a little reminiscent about that. One of the gentlemen that used to keep me straight was a fellow by the name of Wolf Tom. And one day, there again, I was helping out with the church, and it was an old gentleman at the time who was very much a part of the hierarchy of the church. His name was Mr. Queer. I don't know if you remember him. Some of you might. But we were sitting back here, and my fellow acolyte, we started to chuckle because they were talking about Mr. Queer. And we were just a bunch of 12, 13-year-old kids. And I remember walking back after church, and Wolf Tom, he says, "Hey, I know your dad." He said, "I'm including me. You guys were screwing around in church." I said, "I got it, Wolf. I got it." Because he was good friends with my dad, and he would kind of keep an eye on me. But we had a lot of people in the church that kind of kept an eye on we as kids. And, reminded us about keeping our mouths, really. And I don't know today if that's such a big thing, but, keeping your mouth shut, listening, being seen, and understanding humility and some patience towards other people. So those were things that I think as I look back, I remember pretty well about my early roots here in this church. And I don't want to go on too long, but I want to thank Terry for calling me. Reverend Finley, I know he's got a heck of a challenge in the morning. He's at 3 different churches. So you got have a lot of energy when you're going to go from the Faith Church out there in Ideal Park to here in Ferndale and then over to Park Avenue. But actually, when you look at sports in our church, it was a very good way of gently enticing those members of the team to be in church, because there was a rule. I think you had to be in church 2 times a month if you were going to be playing hoops in the church league. And it was a pretty big thing because we had a pretty good basketball team, and over the years, Ferndale was always very competitive. I can remember how I first got started playing basketball. I was a big hunter. I played baseball, I played football, but I didn't play basketball. I didn't even play basketball in junior high until I was about maybe 9th grade. So I was over, and I was playing in the church league because my dad, he always figured the church league was, like for cake eaters. And because he was a pretty good athlete himself, and he said, "Yeah, I go play in the church league." So one night I came home, I said, "Hey, Dad, I'll tell you what, that church league is a lot tougher than you think it is." So he says, "I'll tell you, Mark," he said, "I'll go over and watch a game." I came home after the game, he came home after the game, he said, you better start playing junior high basketball because these guys are pretty good players. And you were basically, a little bit over your head. So then I played high school ball and, got into playing basketball at a higher level. But it was a very competitive league, and it was something that we at our church, we were proud of. We had Beulah, and they were always one of our, I guess, like arch enemies, and we didn't like losing to them. And so there was some other teams that South Fork. South Fork had some super players, and during the game there'd be a few elbows. So everybody said, "Wait a second, we're all Christians here," and the game would be over. We were good comrades and good friends, but it was an important part of, the fellowship that went on. And then when I came in this morning, Terry gave me this basketball tournament, and this really was big. And one of the places that we used to go, I remember as a youngster, we went down to Quincy, which was the orphanage for the EUB church at the time, which is now the United Methodist Church. But I can remember being in that orphanage, which today, I don't even know if there are many, if any, orphanages anywhere. The county used to have its own orphanage. And, today many children go into foster homes and they're adopted and that kind of thing. But that orphanage was something that, even as a youngster, it impressed me, how well the kids were treated and how Christianity was such a big part of what went on there. They were very, very well fed. The place was very clean, and there was a loving atmosphere that you could pick up right away. You could see that the kids were very, very well cared for. So, but I remember playing there, and they took us through, and it was something that, kind of impresses you when you see, that Christian love, that didn't matter what the kid's name was or what color they were very well taken care of, they were very well fed. And there was a family atmosphere that was, very nice to see. So, but anyway, sports, I don't know, I don't think we had softball here, did we? We did. Yeah. We did have softball for a while, too. Yeah. In fact, I remember, I was pretty sure it was here, in a softball game. The only time I ever played in any baseball or softball game where I hit for the circuit. That means you hit a single, double, triple, and a home run. And so I remember that one pretty good. So, but we only had that for a couple of years. Yeah, we used to play out there on the Somerset Pike. Remember we played? Yeah. So, but anyway, I want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to be up here. It is always great to get back to your roots, where you start, and appreciate just the opportunities that were given. I remember at Jazz Croyle, he used to give me elbows all the time, and he was a leaper. We had all kind of names for Jazz. We used to call him Running Bear. He don't even like to talk about that. There was a song that was called Running Bear. We used to call him Running Bear. I was just a kid. He would always be playing at the playground, and then good camaraderie. There was a lot of kids in Ferndale at that time too. I think there was many more kids than we have today. And the other thing that is somewhat more unique in those days compared to today is kids were outside, much more than you see kids today. You pretty much got yourself a couple pieces of toast in the morning, and you hit the road, and you're outside a lot. So basketball, we played a lot of basketball, and there was a lot of kids. Really, at the time, there were a lot of kids that could play basketball. Today, I think there's not as many kids. There's a lot of really good basketball players today, but I don't think as many kids play as there were in some earlier years. But so basketball was a big part of the tradition here at the Ferndale, at the time, EUB Church. And I guess we probably don't have enough members now. So, yeah. I would also like to say, hey, the church looks beautiful. I know that the church is really not just the looks of the church, but the people of the church. And, that's something that really makes a church. The people of the church, you got to And another thing that always impressed me as a kid was our choir. That still impressed me here today. We got a super choir here. And I never tried to sing in a choir because I can remember when I was back about 5th grade, they used to have us all sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And I remember my teacher in the 5th grade, after I sang Row, Row, Row Your Boat, she said, Mark, I need somebody for the stage crew. So I figured at that time, she was pretty kind, and she was trying to tell me, you probably shouldn't be singing very much. I never really took up much after that. So, but I appreciate the invitation, Terry, and God bless.